Good evening, Toastmasters of District 82 and Toastmasters from all across the globe. Thank you so much for joining us on the first ever episode of Saturday Talk with the Superstars. Saturday Talk with Superstars is one of the 3 programs that the marketing team of Ovation 2019 bring right to your fingertips. In this segment, we talk with the world champions and we ask them questions that you send us. This first episode is with the reigning world champion Ramona Smith, and you sent us 65 questions to ask her. Of course, we couldn't ask her all of it, but we picked the 15 top questions to ask her, and you will see her answers in the videos coming up. We originally had an idea of having only one part of this video, but after seeing your questions and after seeing the answers that Ramona sent us, we have decided to treat you with 2 parts of this interview. One coming up today, now that you're going to watch, another coming up just the next week. So, enjoy the video, have fun, subscribe to the channel, and do not forget to register for Ovation 2019. The links to register, the multiple offers that you have for the registrations will all be shown in different links throughout the video and also in the description section. Don't forget to register for Ovation 2019 because Ovation 2019 is going to be the biggest ever conference of District 82 and you wouldn't really want to miss it, would you? I hope you enjoy watching this video as much as we enjoyed making it. Let me tell you something, it was a unique experience talking to a world champion. This is Saturday Talk with the Superstars. Thank you so much for all your questions. Here you go.
Who is Ramona Smith? Please tell us a little bit about you and what you have gone through.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you guys representing District 82. I'm so excited about Ovation 2019, and I know it's going to be so awesome. I wish I could be there. Who is Ramona Smith? Ramona J Smith she's lively, she's vibrant, she's animated, she's excited, she's a mom, she's a teacher, she is a writer, she's an artist, she's a speaker, of course, she's a friend, she's a daughter, a sister, an aunt. I love my family. I love my friends. I've met so many awesome people from all around the world, and I'm just a person who loves life and feels like the rest of my life is going to be the best of my life. And I just so happen to be the 2018 World Champion of Public Speaking, so that's amazing as well.
Happens to be the champion. It's just one among the so many things, isn't it? And I think that's the hallmark of some of the great speakers, including you. Thank you so much, Ramona. I wish I can recall everything that you said, but I think one word should do it. You are Ramona Smith, the world champion of public speaking. Thank you so much. So Ramona, coming to the next question, which again takes us back to who you are and your roots. We have a question coming from R. Badri Narayanan from Ericsson Toastmasters Club, Chennai. He asks, do you remember the very first meeting that you attended? Please tell us about your experience of that meeting.
My very first meeting was in Hawthorne, California in 2009, I believe. And I really did not know what to expect. I had only heard about Toastmasters from my sister. I had never heard anything else about the organization. And when I went, I was a little nervous. I was very nervous because I had no idea of what to expect. I had no expectations. And I just so happened to join a beautiful club. It was called Dream Catchers, and our president was Amy Ayano. She became my first speaking guru, and she taught me all about being myself. Amy is the reason why I'm able to get on stage and do things that some people think are a little over the top, but that's just a part of who I am. And Amy allowed me to find myself as the Ladybug speaker and express myself in a creative and original and unique way. And after my first meeting, I saw how comfortable Amy was in her own skin, and it just really rubbed off on me. And after my first meeting, I was hooked. Everybody was so nice and so kind, and I stayed with the Dreamcatchers for a very long time until I moved back to my hometown.
Wow. Thanks to Amy and thanks to Dreamcatchers Toastmasters Club for giving us such a great champion. Thank you so much, Ramona. The next question comes from Gayatri Rajagopalan, who is part of the Ford Mustang Toastmasters. And she asks, why did you join Toastmasters? What drove you to get into that first meeting?
I always wanted to be a motivational speaker or a public speaker. I've wanted to do that since I was a teenager, but I didn't really know where to start because where I came from, public speaking wasn't really publicized. The only public speakers I knew were people who were preachers or people who were in politics. I didn't know that an average girl could start a career as a public speaker. And so when I moved to California from Ohio in the States, that's when my sister suggested that I join the Toastmasters organization because it'll help me become a more effective communicator and a more effective leader and merge those two skills in order to start a career in motivational speaking. So the reason why I joined was to learn more about how to become a better and more effective speaker in order to start a career as a speaker.
Wow. Motivational speaker. I hope we get to hear more of your speaking, Ramona. That will be something, won't it? Next up is a question from MG Arun from CGI Chennai Toastmasters. He asks, when you started, did you aspire to become a world champion? What were your dreams and ambitions then? And now that you have become a world champion public speaker, what are your dreams and ambitions today?
Initially, when I became a Toastmaster, I had no idea of what the world champion of public speaking was. I had heard Amy talk about this and that here and there, but I didn't really understand it because I was so new. I didn't really get into competing until 2015. And once I started competing in 2015, I kind of got addicted to it because the first time I ever competed, I started winning a lot. I won at the club level, and I won at the area level, and I won at the division level. And then when I made it to the district level, I was so confident and arrogant that I just knew in 2015 that I was going to be that next world champion. Unfortunately, I did not win at the district level. I placed third. And so I tried again the next year because, like I said, I was addicted. I just wanted to become the next world champion. I wanted it so bad. And then in 2016, I didn't even make it past the club level. And so in 2018, when I just recently competed, I wasn't really thinking about the championship. I was thinking more about how can I really dive into this Toastmasters experience as a seasoned speaker and as someone who does have high levels of public speaking skills. What more can I learn by competing? How can I learn and grow and also have fun with it and not even think about the world championship? And once I didn't think about winning, that's when I started winning. And I appreciated every moment and I appreciated every level of the competition. And although, of course, when you're competing, the ultimate goal is to win, I didn't place all my focus on that in 2018. And when I did finally become the world champion, I was shocked. I was completely in awe and I didn't expect it to happen. However, now that I do have this platform, it allows me to start walking in my purpose of being that motivational speaker, of following my dreams of becoming this international speaker who is well sought after. So now my goals are to speak all around the world as I have been doing. Now my goals are to break into Hollywood and maybe even Bollywood and and write more books and meet more people and inspire. The ultimate goal now is to inspire the masses through this platform and through this talent that I have been gifted.
Lovely. So nice to hear you say that, Ramona. And Bollywood might be much closer than you actually think. You're always welcome. So we have our next question, which my colleague Naveen himself sent. And he asks, how often did you give speeches after you joined Toastmasters? One of the things that come in the background of this topic, in this question, is a lot of us struggle to find topics on which to speak on. So how frequent was your journey? How often did you keep giving speeches?
When I first started, I kind of watched and observed. When I first joined Toastmasters in 2010, I watched and I observed for a couple of weeks. And then I gave maybe about a speech every 4 weeks. And then in 2015, when I joined my next club, the Cleveland Club, that's when I started working towards my CC. And I was speaking probably the same, about once a month. And just recently in 2018, I was speaking every week. I was speaking every single week because I didn't finish my CC in 2015, but I was 8 speeches in. And I didn't necessarily have to complete another CC in 2018, but I just started completely over and I was speaking every week, especially once I started to win the different contest levels. I wanted to grace the world stage with at least a CC. And so now I'm about to wrap up my second CC, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump into pathways. So at first I was speaking maybe about once a month, but then I started speaking a little more frequently, and now I'm speaking. I actually just gave a speech last week. So now I'm actually speaking about once a week now.
Lovely. That takes us back to another question, which is closely connected with speeches. And I'm going to add one of my own here as well. But first, the question from Parna Priya, who is from Ericsson Toastmasters Club. She asked, do you remember the first ever speech you gave at a contest? What was it about? How was it received by the audience? And I'm going to ask you to talk to me a little more about the speech that you gave just last week, just because you mentioned it.
My first speech that I gave at a contest was called Unbreakable. And it was about the difficulties that I was facing at that point in my life. At that point in my life, I was going through a divorce. At that point in my life, I was nursing my son back to health because he was having some health issues. And I just talked about how, in spite of all it was actually the revamp. Still Standing is actually the revamp of Unbreakable. So Unbreakable, I talked about overcoming those challenges. And it was well received at the club area and division levels. However, at the district level, things change. The audience is more broad. There are people from all over your district. And at that point, that's when the stakes are kind of raised. And the issue that I faced in my speech, the one thing, the area of improvement that I needed was that I didn't bring the audience back up. After I'm talking about the divorce and my son is sick and he's 2 and oh, my life is just terrible, I didn't say, well, this is how I overcame it and this is how you can too. I left the audience depressed. And you never want to do that.
Yes.
And that's where I went wrong in that first speech. But it was called Unbreakable, and it was about the difficulties and challenges I was facing at the time.
And what about the last speech that you gave? Last week?
Yes, the speech that I just gave, it was actually Monday. On Monday, we meet every Monday. Okay. It was called Hashtag 2019 Goals. And I talked about my goals for 2019, and it was actually speech number 8 in the CC manual, because I'm going to finish up this manual, then transition over to pathways. And it was using visual aids. So I used 3 visual aids talking about my different goals for 2019.
Lovely. So, Naveen, next up is your segment. Please take it forward.
Thank you, Rags. So the next question is from Mohan Krishnan from Semantic Toastmasters Club. Who was your biggest inspiration when you started on the journey of WCPS Summit?
My biggest inspirations while starting this last contest?
Yes.
Well, I love Muhammad Katani. The 2015 world champion. I really love him. I look up to him. Of course, Darren LaCroix. He's amazing. Mark Brown. Mind blown with Mark Brown. And also Dhananjaya. I have such a big crush on DJ. But inspiration was LaShonda Rundles, the 2008 World Champion of Public Speaking from Dallas, Texas. LaShonda Rundles was my biggest inspiration because she was the last female who won, and she was the first African American woman who won. And so I really tried to channel a lot of her energy and her spirit, and I actually really felt connected to her. Even though she passed away in 2012, I felt very connected with her during my journey just because our paths are so very similar, and she was probably my biggest inspiration. LaShonda Rundles, the 2008 World Champion of Public Speaking.
Thank you, Ramona. So the next question is from Sriram Venkatraman from DXC Chennai Toastmasters Club. How do you practice for a speech?
I practice for a speech by repetition. I continue to repeat it over and over and over and over and over. And for me, when I get to the point where I am just disgusted with the speech and I just don't want to hear it anymore, that's how I know that I'm ready. When I'm just like, you know what, if I say still standing one more time, that's when I know. So after I write my speech out and I edit it, and once it's ready after it's edited, after everything is in order, and after I have all my points and it's written out, because I still like to write. I don't type my speeches, I write them out. And after it's ready to go, I'll hold it in my head, I'll keep repeating it, and I'll paste, and I'll repeat it, and I'll paste, and I'll repeat it over and over and over and over again. And the more I repeat it, the more it starts to build up in my memory. And so then I'll start to memorize it. And after I memorize it, that's when I put the choreography together. And I know that when I'm here, I'm going to do this gesture or say this or have this pause. But I practice through repetition. All I do is keep doing the speech over and over and over and over and over.
Thank you, Ramona.